We are back into the action, ladies and gentlemen, on what is the hottest show on the streets, the best form of Alabama football news, notes, and information. Yours truly, Stephen M. Smith, and we got my man Justin Smith in the house, in studio, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. Got a family affair here, if you can see the family resemblance going on. But Justin, we're going to get to a lot of conversation about the 2021 recruiting class, what's going on there. We'll talk some 2020 guys, but the number one big news and information is Drake Maye, the four-star quarterback who was originally committed to Alabama, has flipped to North Carolina. People are wondering what's going on. Why did he flip? What caused this to happen? Is this bad? I remember you had talked about at some point you felt like Alabama's going to have some trouble holding on to his commitment. What does this mean with Drake Maye flipping?
Well, as far as Drake Maye is concerned, the four-star quarterback out of North Carolina, this is not a huge hit for Alabama, not really a huge surprise when you look at Drake Maye. He's a product of North Carolina. He's a North Carolina bred kid. His dad went to the University of North Carolina. His older brother Luke Maye played for the North Carolina men basketball team. So it's not a huge surprise that Drake Maye flipped his commitment from Alabama. I think it was kind of expected. And as I said on the process several times before, it was going to be hard for Alabama to keep Drake Maye's commitment, with North Carolina still being a huge player in his recruitment. But when you look at Alabama's entire roster heading into next season, with Bryce Young on the roster, Paul Tyson, Talia Tagovailoa, Mac Jones, that quarterback room is loaded. And I think that is one of the reasons why Drake Maye saw it best for him to flip his commitment to North Carolina. All of these quarterbacks, especially guys at the quarterback position, they want to come in, play early, make that immediate impact. And I think Drake Maye does see that, and I think he sees that crowded quarterback room that Alabama will have on next season. But when you look at Alabama's 2021 recruiting class at the moment, with that in mind, that Alabama's quarterback room is stacked, I don't think it's a huge priority for Alabama to land a top-tier quarterback. But as Nick Saban always says, he always wants to bring in at least one quarterback per cycle. But looking forward with the 2021 recruiting class, some names I will keep an eye on is Jalen Milroe, a four-star quarterback, a dual-threat quarterback who's currently committed to Texas. This is a kid who was once very high on Alabama's board. He did say he really liked Alabama before he committed to the University of Texas, but things could change now that Alabama does not have a verbal commitment from a quarterback in the 2021 recruiting class. I will also look at Shadir Sanders, the son of Hall of Fame defensive back Deion Sanders, as a possibility.
Now, Justin, I mean, as we look at this 2021 class, and right now with Drake Maye decommitting or flipping that commitment to North Carolina, Alabama's got one guy committed for its 2021 class, the young man out of Mobile Christian School, Mobile, Alabama. This class is kind of moving slow.
Yeah.
Much like the 2018 class did. And I know at that point in time, college football was instituting the two signing periods, and Nick Saban was trying to maneuver through that. Yeah. And at the same time, you had a lot of coaches leaving the staff, going to other places, pursuing other jobs. So that's why the 2018 class kind of not hit the way fans wanted it to hit. Do you see the same thing with this 2021 class, or is it just an overreaction and Alabama's going to get its guys?
Yeah, I think Alabama is still going to get most of their targets that they really want, but there's no doubt about it. This 2021 recruiting class is moving very slow, with only one verbal commitment at this point in the 2021 recruiting class. When you go back to the same point on last year in the 2020 recruiting cycle, Alabama had about 6 or 7 commits. So it is obvious that this class is moving very slow at the moment, with Deontay Lawson being verbally committed. But I wouldn't be that afraid if I was an Alabama fan, just going crazy about Alabama only having one commit in the 2021 recruiting class at this moment, with it being early. And I think Alabama's coaching staff has a great grasp on the early signing period and the two signing periods during this 2021 recruiting class. Going back to the 2018 recruiting cycle, that was the first year where we had two signing periods in Alabama, and Nick Saban and the rest of his coaching staff was trying to adjust to that new addition and new change. And I think they're more experienced this time around. And with Alabama hosting their second Junior Day event on this Saturday, I think Alabama will look to build some momentum, especially on this this Saturday. Hopefully get a commitment in the next couple of weeks to build some momentum after losing 2 verbal commitments over the last week or so.
Folks, if you're just now joining the show, in my own words, the podcast, Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. I'm live here with Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for TDA, talking about 2021 recruiting class, the 2021 recruiting cycle. Justin, you brought up Junior Day. Yeah. Coming up on Saturday. I know you'll be out there scouting those guys, looking around, things of that nature. If you had to put a number on how many guys does Nick Saban, how many guys does this coaching staff need to offer, what would that number be?
Well, as far as the 2021 recruiting class, Alabama has offered a healthy number of those 2021 prospects. I don't expect too many new offers to come out when it comes to the 2021 recruiting class. I think they are hosting some interesting recruits in the 2021 recruiting class. When you look at guys like 4-star defensive end Shamber Jackson out of Orlando, Florida, a guy who told me that Alabama's defensive line coach Freddie Roach has been in contact with him every day as of late, building that contact and building that relationship heading into his Junior Day visit. Another guy we'll watch out for is 4-star outside linebacker Reneria Dilworth out of North Carolina. This kid is very explosive, one of the fastest outside linebackers in the 2021 recruiting class. Easy. It's crazy how explosive this kid is on the field, and I think Alabama getting him on campus is huge for Alabama this weekend, with Dilworth being the guy who will announce his verbal commitment on May 9th. So Alabama will host some interesting 2021 targets. As far as extending new offers, I think a lot of those offers will go out to guys in future recruiting classes, including guys in 2022, 2023, and possibly the 2024 recruiting class.
Justin, this year's Iron Bowl is going to be huge, man.
Yeah.
Every Iron Bowl is huge. Every Iron Bowl is major. But this one's going to be huge in terms of, and you and I both kind of talked about this off the air, the rich talent, the rich recruiting talent is starting to come back to the state of Alabama. It was here at one point in time in the early years of Nick Saban, then it kind of left and went to other states. Now it's coming back to this state right here. So when you look at these guys for 2021 on up, and Nick Saban, Gus Malzahn are going to be fighting to not only keep these guys in state, but also keep these guys coming to their respective programs, their respective schools. So how big, in your opinion, is this 2021 Iron Bowl? Is this year's Iron Bowl for 2020?
I think the Iron Bowl is pretty huge for both sides, Alabama and Auburn, but so is the rest of the seasons. When you look at those potential recruits in the 2021 recruiting class, looking at Auburn and Alabama as potential landing spots for them at the next level. But when you look at this entire 2021 recruiting class in the state of Alabama is loaded from the top to the bottom. When you look at the top, you have guys like 5-star athlete Quincy McKinstry, 5-star defensive end Dylan Brooks, both guys who are considering Auburn and Alabama. You have Lee Hunter, the 5-star defensive end out of 8 Mile, Alabama, by the way, of Blunt High School, who is verbally committed to Auburn at the moment. Armani Goodwin is an explosive running back who I really like, but Alabama has not offered yet. But he's another one of those guys, in-state guys, that makes this 2021 recruiting class inside the state of Alabama so dangerous. Even when you dive deeper into this class, looking at guys that are kind of sitting in the middle, when you look at 4-star defensive tackle Tim Kennan out of Ramsey High School, both Alabama and Auburn is recruiting him. 3-star cornerback who's 4-star on some recruiting sites, and Kamari Lassiter out of American Christian Academy in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So when I say this class is filled from top to the bottom, I definitely mean that when you look at this particular class. But not so Alabama and Auburn. A lot of other schools, major Power 5 schools across the nation, are going to try to come inside the state of Alabama and steal some of that talent. When you look at teams like LSU, Georgia, Clemson, and even Ohio State.
Live right here on In My Own Words, the podcast. If you're just tuning into the show, I got Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, talking 2021 recruiting, but also the 2020 guys, the early enrollees that are already here. Now, as we get into these 2020 guys, Justin, the main guy that people are enamored with, of course, it's Bryce Young, the 5-star from Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California, at 6 feet, 190 pounds, just an incredible high school career. Now, according to TouchdownAlabama.com, you have him not only as a 5-star, but you also have him with a diamond grade of 1, which means he will be an immediate contributor, an immediate game game changer, big time factor. But while everyone's talking about Young, and for obvious reasons, if there's 2 to 3 other guys out there that you watched, that you studied, that you scouted out in this class, who are 2 other guys or 2 to 3 other guys that you are really excited about?
Well, I'm really excited to see Alabama's 4-star defensive back signee at this point, who is currently enrolled into the University of Alabama, and Jacquez Robinson, a lengthy defensive back that stands at 6'2" and possibly 6'3". He can go stride to stride with any speedy wideout, and with those long arms, he can extend his arms and tackle guys who are fleeing ball carriers, and he can also knock the ball out of the air against taller wide receivers with those 50-50 balls, no jump balls in action. I really think Jacquez Robinson, now that I'm hearing from Alabama's camp that he's added on a couple of pounds, possibly pushing 190, possibly pushing the weight where he could be a competitive defensive back in the SEC. So I'm really excited to see what Jacquez Robinson will do, a 4-star defensive back out of Florida. But not only him, I'm also excited to see Drew Sanders, another 5-star athlete who's expected to play
That
outside.
Kid's got some guns on him.
Yeah, he most definitely does, and he's expected to play outside linebacker for Alabama. But I'm excited to see if he could possibly move to another position if Alabama needs him to, because he's just that explosive and he's just that athletic.
Now, Justin, I remember you talked about this and you wrote a couple pieces on Drew Sanders. You mentioned tight end could be that spot. Now, I know Alabama, it's got Jaleel Billingsley, Major Tennyson. It's signed Carl Tucker as a graduate transfer from North Carolina. Can Drew Sanders really play tight end?
Yeah, I think he could play tight end and fit into that position very easily, just based off what he did during his high school career. This is a guy who had no problem lining out wide, going one-on-one with defensive backs and burning those defensive backs on those fly routes. This is a guy who's very familiar with the route tree. Also has some experience at playing wildcat quarterback. So he has experience at playing so many different positions. So I think if Alabama needed him to play tight end, with Alabama's tight end coach Jeff Banks trying to change the vision of the tight end position at the University of Alabama, trying to recruit more athletic tight ends, and if they can't get them through the recruiting process, you already got one there in Drew Sanders if you needed him to go there.
Now, Justin, one of the other guys not named Bryce Young that people are just enamored with in this 2020 class that's here is Will Anderson, the outside linebacker out of Hampton, Georgia, at 6'4", 230 pounds. His size right now would mirror a Tim Williams or a Christian Miller, but when you watch his tape, people want to know. I know you don't want to make this comparison just yet, but people want to know, is this close to Derek Thomas? Could we possibly get back to having somebody? And I'm not trying to compare him to Derek Thomas, because DT is in a realm of his own. He's in a category of his own. But when you turn on the tape, in your study of Will Anderson, Justin, what do you see when you turn on the tape and you watch this young man on the field?
Well, first off, when you look at William Anderson, you see his frame. He has all of the frame and the built work to be a great defensive lineman at the next level. He's explosive off the edge. Just a kid who can shed blocks pretty quickly. I think his arm technique, his hand technique is pretty impressive as well. But when you look at William Anderson, he's a man among boys, especially on his high school huddle film. He looked like he was a monster out there for the most time. And I'm really impressed with William Anderson, especially what he showed at the All-American Bowl, not only being the guy who was explosive off the edge and getting to the backfield, but also being the guy who knows where the ball is, trying to float to the football, and also create turnovers, as he was able to force a fumble in that game. So I'm really impressed with William Anderson. I know a lot of Alabama fans are excited for him to get on the field now that he's on campus.
As we're continuing the conversation, folks, if you're just tuned in to In My Own Words, the podcast, hottest show on the streets, yours truly, Stephen M. Smith. I got Justin Smith here with me, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine, breaking down 2021 recruiting of his 2020 class that's already in here. Be sure to drop a thumbs up on the show, give a like on the show, and hit that subscribe button. That lets us know here at TDA to continue pumping you out the best in news, notes, information, and content on your Crimson Tide. But Justin, there are some names out here that a lot of fans, a lot of people are not talking about. They're kind of looked at as, I don't want to say sleepers, but these are guys that have potential. These are guys that are big-time playmakers, but may not be getting the conversation, may not be getting the talk, may not be getting the dialogue, if you will, that a lot of these other guys are getting. So who are those guys kind of flying under the radar in your mind that you have watched on film, that you have watched driving around, seeing these high high school games. Now that these guys are here, who are some guys that you see that may not be getting the conversation, but they're big time?
As far as freshman enrollees, I would definitely put Jacquez Robinson in that conversation, just off not many people talking about him. But another guy I would say is a guy who I think Alabama fans are excited about, but I think with him committing to Alabama so early in the 2020 recruiting class, Rodell Williams, a 4-star running back out of Hueytown High School, is definitely a kid I would watch out for.
Rodell Williams is a big-time factor, a big-time playmaker. But, folks, we're going to go to another break here. Appreciate having Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama Magazine, on the show. But, folks, we're going to go to another break here on In My Own Words, the podcast. Don't touch that dial. Upon our return, we jump into the conversation of can Alabama, or we'll jump to a spring preview. We get to your tweets, texts, phone calls. Right, it's got tongue tied. We get to more of your tweets, texts, and phone calls right after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.